Okay, welcome to Property Pursuits, everybody. These are not the notes, sorry. I'm here with Kayla Dalton. Kayla's been a good friend of mine for a long time, but I was kind of mean to her when I first met her.
It's true.
Do you remember the B&I group?
I do.
And I didn't know that so we met at a B&I group. We were B&I's terrible, guys.
No.
Business Networking International. It's so that dudes in Costco suits with bald heads can tell their wives they did something today to try to pay the rent or mortgage. But we created a B&I chapter that was so cool. It was all young people. It was fresh. But when we were first sitting down to put it together, I said, I don't think we should have anyone who's been in the business less than
a year. No, 5 years. You said 5 years, yeah.
And Kayla goes,
sunk back into my seat.
She goes, this bitch is scary. But she made her case.
Yeah, she said, okay, then if we're going to be working together, then let's go to lunch. And I basically had to sell myself to her. And here we are, 8 years later.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's wild. But we're going to actually talk about good realtors versus bad realtors. And there was a reason that I wanted people who were experienced in the group because, one, you have to do business with each other. And I didn't want to trust just anyone with my business. But I also didn't want to invest a bunch of time into a relationship and then someone's going to quit because there is a really high fallout rate. But anyways, since then, we've been very good friends for 8 years, which is really weird because we're both 25. So I don't know how that happened. But we do a lot of business together, and Kayla's also a real estate investor, so we have that in common. And there's a lot we don't have in common, which we'll get into today, but I think it's going to be a really interesting show. If this is your first time watching Property Pursuits, it's a monthly market update, but it's like less boring. You know, like we're not going to just read you the data and the headlines, and you're going to be like, how does any of this matter to me? What we do is we're trying to explain to you as two people who are boots on the ground how these headlines that you see coming out are actually relating to what we're seeing happening in real time in our local market, which is Northern Nevada. So obviously the big news today, October 1st, is the government shutdown, which have you looked at HUD's website?
I haven't. Not today.
HUD.gov, nonpartisan page for housing and urban development. A big red screen comes flashing up that says the radical left shut down the government. We will do whatever we can.
Does it really?
To support Americans in need today.
Tell me how you feel about that.
I feel like it's childish. But before we get into, actually, I don't even know if we bother getting into why we got here because the fact is we're here. If you're not familiar, this is not the first time the government has shut down. The last time was
2018, I think.
Yeah, and that one lasted 30 days. And it was bad. Like, it started to impact the economy, government spending, because, you know, a lot of people in America are federal employees. They get furloughed, they don't get paid. They can't. I remember I had federal employees that were in contract to buy houses.
Yeah, I had a USDA loan, a buyer with it, buying a USDA loan that we had to cancel after the 30 days because the seller wouldn't hang on.
To wait, and you can't get that loan during that time. So big picture outside of housing, non-essential services, a lot of them discontinue. Essential services like your Social Security check, those still come for now. It's all kind of unpredictable because the hardest part of a government shutdown is we don't know how long it lasts because it's in the lawmakers' hands. I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of trust in them to figure this out in an efficient manner.
They're not very friendly.
No. So tough times, I think, are ahead. This morning, we got the ADP jobs number. So today, mortgage bonds are doing well because ADP showed job weakness. This is the third month in a row that the labor market's been weak. Mortgage bonds are reacting to that piece of the puzzle right now, and they're doing well. A government shutdown could kind of go both ways with interest rates because you might see a flock to safety where investors want to choose mortgage bonds because it's a safer asset class. You might not. They might not feel so good putting their money in a treasury because the government shut down and unpredictable and unreliable and inefficient. It could go either way. And it probably also depends on how long.
Yeah, too soon to tell, I think, right now.
Too soon to tell. But at the moment, mortgage bonds are doing okay because of other news. But we're supposed to get jobs numbers from BLS on Friday, and we won't.
I was just going to say, aren't they waiting for that report, and now it won't come out because of the shutdown?
It won't happen. So then the Fed is going to have to go into that next meeting, potentially missing the data that they need to make a decision.
Going blind.
All right, so let me talk about a couple like tangible things that happen now in the mortgage and real estate space because the government is shut down. For conventional loans, it's pretty much business as usual. FHA loans, you'll still be able to pull case numbers, but you can't get a reverse mortgage right now. It's just dead on arrival. Those are paused. And FHA condo approvals will be delayed. So if you're purchasing a condo using an FHA loan on a project that needed to update its approval or some piece of it was pending, that could be tough. USDA loans are where, as Kayla just pointed out, you're going to see the biggest disruption. They're basically, the USDA isn't open, isn't functioning, nothing's happening. VA loans will mostly operate as usual, just like VA hospitals are an essential service and VA benefits will continue. VA loans will continue, but you could see some delays because they're going to be operating on a very thin staff. Flood insurance is also a problem.
It is.
FEMA's not open.
No.
They're not going to do shit right now. So with loans, to nail this down for you, bottom line is FHA, VA, mostly okay. Conventional, completely okay. USDA hosed, you're shit out of luck. And flood insurance, also, you're in a very tough spot. And that impacts the market. Like,
Sure.
that impacts people trying to buy and sell right now. Even if they're not a federal employee who's been furloughed, it impacts everyone, which sucks because the government's not supposed to shut down. I pay my taxes, so they don't shut down. Okay.
Well, because our lawmakers, they still collect their salary during a government shutdown.
They do?
I read that yesterday.
No way.
I read that yesterday.
Senators,
Don't quote me.
congressmen still get paid?
I believe that they do. I know. Don't quote me on that. I know we're live here, but somebody look that up.
I heard that when Obama was president, he donated his salary. Does
Trump does do that also.
Sure he does. I'm sure he does. Okay. So we talked about the impact on real estate. There's other market challenges right now that we're facing. What are you facing?
I've probably had one of the roughest weeks in my 8-9 years of doing this.
Tell us about it. Let's have a little therapy session.
With listings closing. I mean, I think I told you that last week that I wanted to put forks in my eyes.
But then I wouldn't let her give me details because I wanted it live.
Yeah, so just really challenging. So these have been with listings, all 3 of them, all closing this week or in a 1-week period, and just over repairs and just getting bodies out of the house and coming down to just little like nitty gritty things all the way up until the end of closing, whether it has to do with financing or, repairs or unplanned circumstances. Like shit happens, like a hot water heater can go out on the day before closing.
That's
and
so
you just
annoying.
have to, and it sucks for everybody. But then it's a lot of, trying to, scramble and get contractors out there, and you're relying a lot on other people on a very short timeline. It's just hard right now. And nobody has any money. That's the other piece of it. So when it comes to these big repairs that come up last minute, they're not like budgeting for them. People just don't have money. Everybody's so tight on both ends.
The buyer and the seller side. But I think that, and I talk about this so much, people are sick of it, but I think it also is the same thing the lawmakers deal with. It's the same thing in the real estate market. People's mental health is complete garbage.
Yeah.
They're under so much stress and there's so much noise all the time, and it's all inflammatory. You're never getting like opening your phone to good news anymore. You know what I mean?
know.
Even if you're not on social media, like it's just an influx of dealing with people at their worst. In real estate, you and I are usually dealing with people and knowing that we're not getting them at their best because times of transition are stressful, right? Even if
sure.
it's a happy transition, it's stressful. And it's high pressure and it's high stakes in real estate. But I think that it's like filtering down from the top to here. So people are like not willing to work with the other side. And it's a mix of, my brain has been forced to hate the other side because I'm in my own echo tunnel on social media and all this stuff and to believe it's me versus them.
Yep.
And then both of us are under immense pressure, as you just said. And nobody has any extra money right now.
No.
I went to the grocery store on Saturday and it was $200. I went to pick up Krisha's medicine, $90 for a 1-month supply. I then got Chick-fil-A and it was $50. And I was like, I text Josh, I'm like, we are so lucky that we work so hard that we don't worry about this.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what the middle class average American family, the stress they're under right now.
Oh yeah.
because
you can spend $200 easy on essential things that you need. Not even like,
it's insane.
not adding guac to your Chipotle order. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
But, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to hold it here. But I think that this is a problem. And I think it's going to impact what happens with elections because people keep voting for change. But they're finding that the politicians on either side are not changing what they actually need. There's too big of a disconnect between the wealth gap is growing bigger and bigger. And politicians, if you've looked at how much money they make, have you looked at that? It's changed so much. I just learned this. I didn't know this. But in the last 10 years, the average income of a congressman has like 10x'd.
Well, is that based on what they're making or based on what they're insider trading?
Insider trading. All that stuff. And so it's like
they are very good traders.
They become.
All I got to say.
Yeah. It's like in Billions when Axe would ask them, are you uncertain? And they would look at him and say, I am not uncertain. And that meant they had insider information.
Yeah.
But I think that to not make it like down to the politics, if he promised this and didn't do this, and he told me my eggs were going to be cheaper. The thing is, they're over here on this island and getting more and more separated from the average American and what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. So when you bring it back to the challenges we're seeing with putting every single deal together, they feel so hard. Like it's like we are holding on by the skin of our teeth. And I'm not holding on to the deal for my commission.
No.
Like I want to get my buyers into that home because, I mean, people might disagree with me, but I truly believe this is the best window we've seen to buy a home. And I believe it's going to close really fast. And I'm trying to get as many people in as I can because the last time it was a buyer's window, I was too early in my career to tell people what to do. I still had the like naiveness. I still wanted to cover my ass. I was scared to like tell someone what to do.
To truly advise somebody.
Now I'm not scared. And this is the first time I've seen another buyer's window. And I'm like, listen to me and look alive. Like I am not uncertain that this is the right thing to do. And so I'm trying to hold the deal together to get them into that home. But the number of cancellations over repairs, because nobody has money to fix them, sometimes we have to fix it. So it means the house isn't going to be financeable unless they find buyers with the money to fix it. Sometimes it's that people are they feel like they're buying a designer bag and they don't want scuffs on it and they're being brats.
Totally.
But I feel like we are fighting to hold these deals together and put them across the finish line. And I think there's a lesson in that don't shop way above your price point. Don't shop where you'll barely be able to like move into the house. And so if the hot water heater goes out, you need to blow up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like shop where you can afford to shop right now.
So true.
Which I'll come back to. I do think everyone should be buttoning up their financial house. But I skipped the market challenges of today, huh, Nicole?
Well, you touched on.
I think the thing that I didn't talk about was just that interest rates, they're trending down and you'll see a lot of people celebrating them and like popping champagne. A lot of people, the truth is, can afford to buy houses when rates are in the fives.
Yeah.
It's been studied, like when every time interest rates went up a point, it priced 3 million households out of the market. Now they're coming down and people are coming back, but they're not coming back in the same numbers because they're not in the same financial position they were before.
Sure.
People were doing people were financially better when interest rates were 2%, which is why you saw explosion in the housing market. Now rates are coming down, but people like Dave and I talked about last month, people aren't really in a position
That's not enough.
to buy a house. They still need a down payment and a job.
Yep.
But what I think is important to notice here, if you're seeing people celebrating interest rates coming down and you are annoyed by it because you're like, well, it's still not enough for me. Like I still can't afford to buy a house. That's real. And I understand what you're saying. I think you need to button up your finances because based on the metrics of what we know about income in this country, when interest rates hit the low fives, a lot of people will qualify to buy. And whether it's fair or not fair, or whether you feel ready or not, this will be when you get priced out. If you're not ready to buy before that time, then the prices will start going up quickly again.
You can only control what you can control. So if you can't control the market, control your financial house.
Yeah. Which means you have to spend within your means. And I know that's hard. Like that's the point I was making with what Saturday looked like for me. I know it's not easy in today's day and age to not spend so much. Like sometimes you're spending $200 on essentials. But I think you also got to be real about like, do you need to be getting your nails done? Like, do you need to hit every music festival next year? Do you need all that stuff? Because I would love for you to hit all the music festivals because of the equity you've grown in your house, because you're so financially stable. But doing so when you aren't financially stable, it's a problem that this generation needs to deal with.
Totally.
Oh my God, I want to say something else that's very controversial.
Okay, do it. This is your
What's the generation below me? Your generation, Nicole.
X.
X? Z?
Are you a millennial?
I'm a millennial. Are you
I
a
think
millennial?
yeah. I think an X.
I'm an elder millennial.
I'm like smack in the middle.
So
I think X, Gen X. That's like the 20 somethings, right?
So Nicole's not like this. Most of the people that I've hired from this age group have actually not been like this, but what some of them have, and it drives me insane that they're like you. I will get the most questions on work-life balance when I speak to different cities from people who are in their 20s, and I'm like, why are you worried about work-life balance right now? Like, why don't you work?
Yeah.
Why don't you work as hard as you can? And they're like, no, but I need to go hiking and I want work-life balance. And we don't want to be like millennials. You guys are strung out. So I hear that. I hear that we're stressed and strung out. We've also lived through like the worst of economic events at the worst times in our lives. But I get it that they don't want to be stressed and strung out but like us, but they also don't want to be broke. And they're complaining about how they're broke. But they don't want to work that hard.
I feel like there's this weird like cultural like I don't know, norm or what's being put out on social media that you should have this work-life balance. Like
Soft
you
girl
have to, you should work, but you should also YOLO and you should, and it's like, how do you balance those things? You can't go to the music festival and be able to buy a house all in, a 5-year period. Like you can't, you have to, like life is about making sacrifices and choices and there's gotta be give and take. And I feel like that's like a total like misconception about what that culture, that or whatever demographic, what they think is good and bad, what they're trying to balance in their own heads, I feel like. So I don't know.
I think that like they need to understand that every choice comes with an outcome, right? And so if you're going to consistently choose
to get your nails done
or to not work that much, that you want to work from home and you want to be in your soft girl era, your soft girl era is not going to involve qualifying for the mortgage on the house that you saw on Instagram. Like those houses ain't cheap. And I don't want to be the one telling you to, like, I always say I don't want to be Dave Ramsey and say that you shouldn't buy your latte and that's how you're going to buy a house. I do believe there's some systemic problems with affordability. I will be the first to say it, and I will also put my neck on the line with unpopular opinions like density. And the fact that we have 2 golf courses in 89509 zip code. That doesn't make any sense for a city growing as fast as we are. I know they're pretty. I live near one of them. It's great for my home value. I also know that that's not good for affordability. So I'm with you on that. There are some systemic issues here. But what advice can I give you on that you could actually take today? What the advice I do want to give you is I think economic times are about to get tougher and you need to prepare for that financially. I'll get off my soapbox now.
I have maybe a controversial take on that.
Okay, let's go.
Do you think that the lawmakers on, you can guess whichever side you like, that they're doing this on purpose and strong-arming each other to create a weaker economy, to bring down interest rates, so where things have to almost get worse before they get better?
Yes, it is 100% better for politicians on both sides to run at a time when borrowing costs are low. So either side wants interest rates to be low for midterm elections and then again in 2 years after that. But this brings me back to the point of why the Fed needs to be independent.
100%.
Because the Fed is supposed to be making choices in 10 to 20-year arcs to maintain financial stability for America. Whereas politicians will always, always, always only think in 2-year and 6-year terms. They want to be the ones who can promise you lower borrowing costs when it comes time for you to go to the polls on both sides. And it's really fucking America up. It's not good. And it's not impacting the average American. But here's where it gets controversial. We know that Democrats lost that election because they disconnected from the working class. They used to be the party of the working class, and they forgot about them. They didn't talk to them enough. They didn't. And then the other side is over there talking about the cost of eggs and the shit that people are experiencing every day. The other side's policies are not better for the cost of eggs. I'm just going to say from my point of view, they're not. But people voted for them because they talked to them. They felt seen by them. And so politicians are going to play this game every time it comes to elections where they want to make you feel seen. But then you have to pay attention to what actually happens after. Because do they deliver on any of those promises? And I know everyone's so mad at Powell. And like this morning, there's a major influencer. He just got appointed to Fannie, Barry Habib, and he runs this like coaching and data company for mortgage advisors. And pretty much every mortgage company pays for Barry Habib to give us every loan officer across the country, a market update. And his perspective this morning was, the Fed has been saying that the labor market is strong, strong, strong. And it's not. And they're so dumb. And I'm like, here I am, barely past Econ 101. And just because I've been working in this job for 12 years, have now gained an understanding of economics, I'm not going to pretend that like I'm smarter than Jerome Powell. I mean, I'm in Reno, Nevada. Like, I graduated with a journalism degree. I'm going to know my place in society and not say this guy's an effing idiot. I don't have to agree with everything he's doing, but like, let's assume they're not idiots because they didn't get to where they are today without being intelligent.
Sure.
I'm not saying they are good people, but they got there with some level of intelligence about how shit works. I don't think the Fed thinks the economy is great. I don't think they think the labor market is super strong. I think they're trying to make decisions that are in 10 to 20-year arcs.
Yep.
And maybe they could be less politically influenced. I'm all for that. But I do believe they have to remain politically independent. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to talk about was agents. Because this is the thing. We started this, there's a lot of bad realtors in every market. It's a very low bar of entry. So something that you talked about was that deals are so hard, right? And it kind of requires two skilled realtors on either side to hold it together. Do you often feel like you're doing the other realtor's job?
Sometimes.
What's that look like, Kayla?
Well, I'll give an example of two agents actually working together. So shout out to Lori Welsh. We had and Shivani happened to be the lender on the other side for her buyer. We had a situation that neither of us, she's been in this 30 plus years, where a Washoe County fireplace was not compliant and had to be removed.
No big deal. Just remove a fireplace.
But the fireplace wasn't like your standalone. You can just cap it, pull it out. No big deal. $800 later. This was like, it was built into the wall like a fireplace. So it was going to cost my clients who had no money, a lot of money to be able to remove this and then put something else there so it didn't look like a total piece of shit. And we worked together and with the fireplace inspector to get actually a one-time variance where we could still close because otherwise Washoe County was going to hold our escrow hostage and not close it because we had to remove this fireplace. So that was just, both of us kind of brainstorming and working together and getting the deal done for both of our clients because her client wanted the house and my clients wanted to sell the house. And we were both working on the same team. So that was a really cool just example of, how we were able to work together to be able to get it done. But I have had other situations where, unsatisfactory repairs and those kinds of things and just not verifying repairs prior to closing and then allowing the escrow to close and then finding out the repair was done improperly after and then coming after the other agent and being like, wait, no. And it's like, well, you authorized it to close. Like your duty to your client would be to verify the repair. So it's just that situation also happens and it's not pretty.
I want to give a shout out to Lori's clients because while they did drive me insane running numbers on hundreds of properties, but I had to put my money where my mouth is. And I tell people, I want you to know the numbers on every property. This is a really big decision. It doesn't matter how many times we run it. Like you need to be sure. When they got to that house, they were sure they wanted that house. Yeah. So as things went wrong, like a fireplace, they didn't falter. They wanted the house the whole time. They were certain by the time they made an offer and got into escrow what they wanted and what they didn't want. And so it made it a lot less stressful for everyone because they weren't looking for ways out of the deal.
Right.
And a lot of times, if your buyers haven't worked with their agent and their lender to get to that place of being confident about the choice they're making, they will be looking for a way out of the deal the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, you should be asking the other agent, here's our hurdle. How can I help? That should always be your follow-up question. It shouldn't be, here's the problem, it's your problem now. Let me know when you have it figured out. Like, no, the whole purpose of this is to work together as a team to get to the finish line for our clients. So just having that big picture perspective is, I think, super important, especially right now.
But the industry does have a low bar of entry. And also it doesn't really have like a school, right? So the only way you learn how to be a good realtor
By
is
doing.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. But it's also no salary. You can work a lot of hours for someone and never get paid. So you have people who are part-time in the industry because, just as a means of survival, they have to have something that pays the bills when they get started. What do you think about those part-timers?
don't think there's a long time place for them here. I mean, just with especially now after the lawsuit and everything, NAR lawsuit and the settlement and all of that, I think there's a lot more liability that we all carry in actually representing our clients and doing our duty to them that, it's only going to take one scary, I think, escrow where things maybe go wonky and, they get sued or they get in trouble or whatever the case may be where, I think they're going to leave all because of that, and that's not even considering that there's a lot less deals happening. So that means a lot less agents are doing deals. So those, just the pure volume, they're not making money.
It's going to be a very small percentage of realtors making the majority of the money. What do you think about...
Oh, no.
That's really impacting my life, I bet. What do you think about realtors who do it like not part-time, but what do you think about being a mom in this job?
It's a great question.
Do you feel like this job is conducive to being a mom?
So I started in this thinking, I'll be able to pick up my kids from the bus and be able to do all these things. And
I think a lot of people get into real estate because
that was literally probably 5 years before I was even going to have children. But I was like, oh, this is such a great idea. And I feel like I've learned very quickly, and my husband can confirm as well, that's not the case. When you're in these examples, when you're having to run to a house to meet a plumber because they had a 2-hour window and they called you and they're going to give you a 30-minute heads up. So you're like, and you're in the middle of the pickup line and you're like, well, shit, throw the kid in the car, race up to the North Valleys to meet your plumber or whatever the case may be. Like, you just do what you need to do. But I think maybe that's a bad example for work-life balance, but or being a family
it's a good
person.
example
But
for
I mean,
getting shit done.
that's the thing. It's like, if that's what kind of person and that's what kind of agent you are, then those are the things you're going to do. And I think if you just like accept, like, I wouldn't make that like a regular thing, but like when you have to do it, you do it.
But that's the thing that I want to say as a positive here, because I know that it's not just people who have other jobs who are doing real estate. It's a lot of them that are part-time because they're making their family a priority, or they have kids, or they're the sole caretaker of those kids.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I feel like it sets a good example for your kids too.
To see their mom get shit done. And I think that there's probably no one better to trust in today's day and age than a mom.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they will get shit done. And they know what it's like. I mean, I would trust a mom over a lot of other people in society, even if that means her kids are going to be in the backseat.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I always say, it always baffles me on the loan officer side, because when I'll talk to women, I just got done on a coaching call, which I'll explain that in a second, but it's my big news for today. But she was telling me that, she got into the industry and has loved every minute of it because it allowed her to be present as a mom. And I really struggle with that because I think this job puts a lot of stress on me that makes me a worse mom. And that I have to be available all the time. And I can't plan to be present for my kids because you never know when someone's going to need a pre-approval or an offer letter. And it was so interesting to me because my favorite psychological tool that I learned in school is a reframe. How you decide to tell yourself the story is all that matters. The story you tell yourself is the only narrative that matters. And I'm like, here I am thinking this job sucks as a mom. It's the worst working mom job because you need to be on all the time and it's so stressful. And there she is telling me how amazing it was because she never had to miss a basketball game or a volleyball game or a pickup because she could choose to be at those because she had the flexibility.
Right.
So,
good point.
For the realtors watching this who are juggling a lot right now, I do want to give you kudos for that because I think it's a reframe. You choose and say that I'm worthy of doing this job and I'm damn good at this job and I can do it with my kids if I need to. And I think that Kayla also has a point that if you're a part-timer, it's going to be hard. That's the reality. And if you're looking for a realtor, I think you need, in their part-time, they do this and they have another job or they do this amidst other obligations. You just want to make sure that you screen them, that you interview them, and that you know that they know what they're doing. Because it's not necessarily about them being available 24/7. It's about them knowing what to do when the time comes that they need to be available.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the market has changed a ton over the last 5 years, like every couple weeks, I feel like. And just working with an agent that's doing deals, because that's the only way they're going to get experience and learn how to handle issues essentially, and make sure that either you as a buyer or seller maybe don't even know they're happening, is, you know, navigating through them and not even knowing, and they're not assuming that stress. So I just think that's important from a part-time perspective. They're not doing the volume.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about it.
Right.
Okay, guys. So pointer, I always want to give you something to do at the end of this. I mean, the main thing I want you to do is button up your finances. But the other thing is we are in Q4 and now is the time to get your tax stuff done for the year. Like if there was something you needed to do this year for your tax strategy, don't wait till December 1st. Like if you're a real estate investor watching this and you needed to buy a property,
Call me.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I have one.
call Kayla. But
kidding.
do it now. Don't wait until December. I mean, December's always a big month for us as lenders with investors because of everybody who needs to close before December 31st. But do it now. If you don't have your CPA chosen for next year, meet with them now. They're going to be way too busy to take on new clients in March. If there's any business purchases you want to make or deductions or things you need to buy, do it now. Just get ahead of your taxes now because the 2026 you is financially calm. Okay? Then make sure you follow us. I think that's the last. I'm jumping out of just Nicole. Oh, mortgage and mimosas. But I want to tell you my big news too. So I had this vision. It didn't make sense to anybody when I was getting my master's. And to be honest, it really didn't make sense to me. I didn't know why I was doing it either. I just knew that I was giving therapy to people in my office all the time, couples that were fighting, families fighting over how to handle generational wealth. Like I just knew I was giving therapy and I was not credentialed to do so. So I thought I'm going to get my master's. I decided to start that in January of 2020 because, you know, the industry was slow for a minute there. Then March of 2020 and the pandemic hits and it was nuts. It's been a long road. But now over time, I started thinking that my dream job would really be to be like the Wendy Rhodes from Billions at a mortgage company. So 2 years ago, I pitched this to the owner of our company and he's like, does that make me Axe? And I was like, ooh, let's not go there with all this. Because Josh was sitting there and Josh was like, I don't want to be Chuck. And I was like, that's not where I'm going with this. What I want to say about this is that I think that I want to coach producers in our industry. I want to coach other loan officers because I have real-time experience of the challenges they're facing. It's not like I'm a dinosaur who did this 10 years ago and now I'm telling you what to do so I don't have to do it anymore because I hated producing. That's dumb. And that's a lot of coaches in our industry. And I don't want to be an accountability coach because I think accountability coaching is a scam. They want you to keep limiting beliefs in place so that you keep needing to pay them to make you do the things you need to do in your business. I want to combine therapy with coaching and help people break through their mental barriers so that they can execute at a high level and have more mental clarity and not need a coach anymore. I want to be the coach that teaches you how to not need a coach. So I pitched it to my company and I'm now, next week, they're going to announce that I'm the chief performance officer for the whole bank nationwide. I manifested my job, you guys. I manifested a Wendy Rhodes job for myself and I'm so excited. So now I'll be coaching loan officers at All Western Mortgage. But the reason I'm telling you this is actually strategic because I have an ask. I need a loan officer to work on my team who can help with my production because I never want to stop producing. I love helping families. I love seeing homeownership change the course of people's lives. I love helping people buy financial freedom through real estate investing. So I need to keep producing. Also, I want to be able to relate to the clients I coach. I want to know what they're facing in real time. And that's going to mean that I need a licensed person on my team to help. So if you know of a loan officer that you love or that has a lot of grit, they're not, you know, the whole like work-life balance nonsense. I'm not saying I'm going to overwork them. I'm not going to abuse anyone, but like I take my computer to the hospital to give birth. So if your main priority is taking vacations, you're not going to be the right fit here. And I just want to be transparent about that right now. So let me know if you know someone who could help me and save the date for Mortgage and Mimosas because it's back October 30th. RSVPs will open October 16th. There's 50 spots in the room. About 30 of them will be open for you to grab on October 16th. It will fill up fast, but get this. I'm flying in Lauren Lucas. You should follow her on Instagram if you're not. She is an AI genius. She's flying all over the country to speak to, she's with Keller Williams. She speaks to their agents all over the country about how they could use AI. And here's the thing. What sold me on it was that she was so tired of investing in people, pouring thousands of dollars of money, thousands of hours into training people, and then they leave to go be your competition. And it's so hard to get them up to speed. And it's defeating as you try to scale your business. And she's used AI to scale her business. She's used systems in AI that can never quit, can never leave her, can never steal her secrets and go somewhere else. And AI is helping her close more and more loans. And now she's helping Realtors all over the country do it. I am paying her to come. I am also going to pay for every realtor in the room to have access to her community where all the tools are. So you should save your spot for this because it's going to be the best mortgage and mimosas ever. It is going to be in a tent rather than at Ranchera. But we're going to try to make that tent nice.
A tent where?
At 18 on Lakeside.
Oh.
I just want everyone to see how beautiful 18 on Lakeside is, but it's October 30th, so it might be cold. And I can't put all 50 of you in one of the townhomes. Mm-hmm. You will have to tour a townhome to go into the tent. That will be the only requirement of attendance. So you can see how beautiful they are and amazing they are and think of the clients that you have that should buy one. But then we'll go down to the tent on the pickleball court. Nicole is going to make that tent so nice inside.
I was going to say, times are tough. Just kidding.
It's going to feel bougie, okay? This is Reno's hottest real estate click, and I won't let you down. It's just the ambiance, you know? You're coming for the content, okay? You're coming for the content. And then follow me and Kayla on social media because we put out a lot of content, and it's a lot of work to put out content, you know? So we'd really appreciate it if you could watch it, like it, save it, share it. Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.